Hi folks, Kieran here again. Hope you're all good. I'd like to share with you my latest ethical idea. I've currently decided that I am a diluted utilitarian. That's a phrase that I've come up with, so it's my own sort of system. Thought I'd tell you what diluted utilitarians believe. Then I'll chat a bit about how I've come to how I justify my adherence to this. Okay, I've written this stuff down, so I'll be reading a little bit. Okay, diluted utilitarians follow 4 commandments. They're not equal in value, these commandments. I'll say them with the most important one first, and so on. They have a different sort of weighting to them, which I haven't worked out in any sort of detail, to be honest. Okay, so commandment 1 is maximize preference satisfying experiences in the universe. And when you do that, more intelligent and more conscious beings carry more weight. So they are capable of more preference satisfaction than less conscious beings. Also, you should only maximize, there's 4 sort of caveats on this. You should only be maximizing these preference satisfying experiences if they are, or to the extent that they are, not coerced experiences, not sadistic sort of pleasures like the pleasure of rape or whatever, not being had by those who have committed seriously malicious acts in the past. And 4th caveat, you should only maximize them to the extent that they are novel experiences. So if there are 2 experiences, if there's a experience someone could or may not have that's already been had by someone else exactly the same, then you shouldn't attempt to maximize that, because it doesn't have value, because it's not novel at all. So that's the first commandment. It's a lot more complicated than the other ones, so I'll press on with the other 3 commandments. Okay, commandment 2, you should minimize the amount of pain in the universe. Again, more intelligent, conscious beings are considered to carry more pain if they are in pain. Commandment 3, minimize the ending or radically changing of an intelligent life without the consent of that life owner or person. This doesn't include doing it through inaction, so not saving someone or whatever, only through action. Commandment 4, maximize, this is pretty controversial, a lot of people, including me, maximize your obedience to your society. So I guess if you're not causing a lot of pain or ending lives or whatever, you should follow your kind of what society tells you to do, or your kind of traditions. So for example, if Christmas is reasonably harmless, then observe Christmas. Okay, so that's what I'm following at the moment. It's a bit of a work in progress, and I'm having a little bit of trouble sort of living by it, mainly because the kind of weighting of things. Like a good example actually is this observing Christmas, because in recent years I have not observed Christmas. I've not celebrated, it's a bit of a word, isn't it? I have not celebrated Christmas. But that was before I decided on these commandments, where one of them is maximize your obedience to your society. But I just don't know how much weight. I think Christmas probably does more harm than good. But how much weight do I put on this obedience to your society? I mean, it is the weakest of my 4 commandments, but who knows? So it's a work in progress anyway. Yeah, so in a previous video I talked about how I am justifying this stuff. Well, that video is called My 3-Level Moral System, I believe, and on my YouTube channel, as I as I speak now, I have it as one of my main ideas playlist on my homepage. Anyway, yeah, to briefly recap what I'm saying, what I said there, and what I still believe, is that instead of following my own moral intuitions, my feeling of what's right and wrong, I believe that one should follow a combination of the moral intuitions of everybody, combined together in some sort of logical fashion. That approach, or that system, if you like, I call pan-intuitionism, or moral pan-intuitionism, perhaps you could call it. But since I decided to follow pan-intuitionism, which was a couple of years ago now, I think, I've had some trouble putting the detail, formulating like my detailed sort of commandments. So that's what this diluted utilitarianism is. I believe utilitarianism is this pretty logical system, but people do have a lot of gut feelings against it. So this what this diluted utilitarianism is an attempt to arrive at. It's I think if we all rationally got together with our and talked about our moral intuitions and worked out a system, it would be this 4-commandment diluted utilitarianism, as I call it. Actually, I think people have other intuitions which should be brought into the system. So in a way, you should have loads of commandments which should just carry very little weight. Maybe there should be hundreds of commandments. But this, for simplicity's sake, I've arrived at 4. Commandment 4, as I said, is this maximize obedience to your society. That is an attempt to bringing conservative moral intuitions into the system, which most people are not conservatives, and a lot of conservatives don't hold conservative perhaps end sort of values. They may have conservative views because they think that you get a better society through conservative sort of people acting in conservative fashion, not because they think that obedience is good in itself. So that's why I feel justified in it not having that much weight, because only like a quarter of the people or something are conservatives, and only some of them would hold these things to be fundamental sort of commandments rather than sort of practical commandments and practical whatever values. So anyway, those are my thoughts. This is my moral system, and if people want to debating me on moral things, then I can refer them to this video as my latest position on things. Okay, all the best for now. See you soon.